Let's talk food. Food insecurity is a significant challenge facing Nigeria, with the country experiencing frequent food shortages, high food prices, and malnutrition. The federal government of Nigeria has in recent times implemented various initiatives aimed at addressing food insecurity, including direct interventions with the release of grains from the national food reserves, amongst others. Let's understand the current state of food security in Nigeria. And I'm being joined by a friend of the house, is an agribusiness coach, AfricanFarmer, Mogaji. Good afternoon, Mr. Mogaji. Man, that is always making me feel like being a farmer. It's good to see you. Thank you.
How are you? Good to see
you.
Very well.
Too. Very well. I'd like us to start on this note. We saw inflation figures just last week, and of course, I think there was a bit of drop month on month for food. But to you, what do you make of that figure that we've seen, considering the efforts we've also seen on the other side? Is it?
No, it's not commensurate.
Exactly.
Yeah, because a lot keeps going in and we don't see the results. And that has been constant over like 20-something years of the efforts and the funding, but no results. The results always mesmerizes everybody to say what's happening. So it's then, every administration comes with something good. What I believe needs to be done mostly is to work on what used to work, or what worked out was what was not working. So we cannot do the same thing the same way and expect a different result. We're still working with the same systems. Nothing has changed. We have not disrupted the system. Until we disrupt the system, we won't have progress. And, rather unfortunate, we see administrations come in and out, good intentions. Implementation is always where there's a comma over the years, and nothing is changing. The prices are dropping, but they will pick up very soon.
They'll pick up again very soon. But we saw that the CBN came with fertilizer support, and the minister has also been, trying to do a lot. Now, what really are these challenges? Many say we need to encourage all-year farming or all-year production. Please, can you take us through this?
All-year production is not the core. I've been an irrigation farmer spanning 2 decades now in the country and outside the country, so I can speak to irrigation farming. And I think people are very naive around irrigation farming. You cannot farm everything we eat with irrigation. Globally, a chunk of all the grains is produced with rain, not irrigation. Irrigation cannot meet up with that production. But when it comes to fruits and vegetables, that's where irrigation comes into play. And so different priorities for different organizations. So we need to prioritize what works for us. We're still not seeing decentralization of agriculture in Nigeria, agriculture policy. In those days, because when we look back at what worked, we should be able to rework what worked. Tafawa Balewa, Nnamdi Azikiwe, later Awolowo, the 3 people worked Nigeria together in regions. Until we regionalize agriculture, we're going nowhere. We still have to take it back to the regions. So I've always said this, when it comes to presidency, we vote regionally. When it comes to agriculture, it is supposed also to be regionally. If we take the region out of it, it won't work. What is staple in the south is not staple in the north. So when you want to give a policy, it will not affect everybody. It will favor a region more than the other region. So that is still what is happening. We cannot have a one-size-fits-all. When Nigeria was top in everything, it was not a one-size-fits-all. It was a trading together. We were trading together, but we had regional projects. We need to go back to region. Without that, we're playing. And climate change is not smiling.
Because I see that looking at what states can do to support the federal government, that has been one argument that has also been on, particularly at this time, the fallout of subsidy removal and all of that. And we see partnerships between states like Lagos and Niger, off-taker, buying products. You have the market that would take the products. And many believe that if we continue to see partnerships like this one, we could also strengthen agricultural value chain. Is that possible, or what positives can we see in that?
So, like I said, what used to work was partnerships. You don't see anybody fight with their partners because of the mutual benefits. So, if we are trading together, we will stay together. States are not trading together, and I've always said it, and I'm re-emphasizing it. Federal government has less than 5% of Nigeria's food security. It's the state. The state owns the land. The state owns the people. The president cannot dictate to the states. It's the state governors that have not woken up to the responsibility, to take food security, headlong. It's the state. If every state in this country can feed, at least over 60%, including Lagos, so every state can feed. It's just specialization. Pick what you want, focus on it, and share the excess. The northerners don't grow cola. They depend on the south for cola, but bring groundnut, palm oil. We still need to go back to trade together. That concept of trading, produce what you have to produce and trade. So Lagos is always championing this trade facilitation. But Lagos may not be able to sustain it if we don't have other, like North Central, come together on the same boat and say, we are also, just don't produce grains, we will produce beans for you. So Kaduna can say we'll produce beans for you. Niger can say we'll produce this. So everybody has the comparative advantage. We're not bringing it on board. We're focusing too much on the federal government, and the local government also is not pulling the weight. So we are where we are by design. It's not a mistake. We are designing it. And so all the fertilizer, yes, every support we get from anybody is good, okay? But this support should also be regionalized to say, okay, if we're giving 1 million bags of fertilizer, each region should get this, and show the delivery to each region, not central. Central does not work. It has not worked. The minister may mean well, but the implementation is dependent on the ministry. That is always where things go wrong. You see ministers sign something in good faith. The moment he leaves his table, it won't work again. And that is still the same thing we're running.
I'm worried when you say the situation almost still remains the same. Nothing has really changed. Those are really scary to me, because I'm thinking that there was a plan to cultivate more land. There was a plan to focus on some particular food produce, wheat, maize, and all of this. Where are we with regards to that?
We're not close. We're not close.
So we're still importing.
Importation has reduced.
Okay,
because
that's a good one.
It has increased. It's not a good one per se.
Not to the percentage you expect,
no,
but at least
it's a good one because of the potentials for local production.
Okay.
But when you analyze it, it's because of the forex exchange.
Okay.
That has reduced importation. But the local production has not matched up to that gap in importation. We need to encourage more. And I say this, all the strategies we're seeing, we're still using the farmers. I was in a program in Southwest where they brought 2023, 2024 research meant to help the farmers to move forward, to be able to plan for 2024, 2025. When they asked the farmers to stand up, the people that stood up, about 15 of them were there. The average age was 60. Average age 60. The location of the program had 2 tertiary institutions of agriculture, and yet we didn't find youth farmers there. So when you do research and you want to give a 60-year-old, what's going to happen? We are still investing, taking our past and investing it in the future. That is all that is happening. So I did a research recently, and I'll take Southwest as an example. Do you have an idea of tertiary institutions in Southwest that offer agric as, chunk out graduates in agriculture. Do you have an idea? 47.
47.
In Southwest, 47. And I have the data. Lagos has 5, Ekiti has 6, Ondo has 7, Osun has 10, Oyo has 12, Ogun has 7. And I didn't count some. So if, take for instance, Southwest, if we have 47 tertiary institutions chunking out agri graduates every year, and yet we don't have youths involved in agriculture, it speaks volume. Our budget needs to increase. When they say agri budget to increase to like 10%, the 10% is not to plant tomato and plant corn. The 10% is to fund institutions. Most of the farms of government and state-owned farms, many of them are not functional. When I mean not functional, if 70% of the infrastructure is not working, what do you teach the students? So we are not having youths. Check all the programs currently being executed to ensure that we have food security. How many youths do you see there? So currently, there's still no practical youth-focused program that is regionally based to ensure our food security. We're still building on old foundation, and it's not taking us to the right place. So I personally believe in the Minister of Agriculture as an administrator, okay? But we need to see more things around youths. If we don't bring the youths in, and we have to entice them to come in, we have to woo them and appeal to them to come in. The ones studying agriculture are not interested in agriculture. It's the ones that did not study agriculture that are interested in agriculture. And I went around recently, and I found out that these youths are saying to us, 4 ladies spoke to me. They said, our classrooms, we have 300 people in class. The lecturer is not using public address system.
How do
we hear? So we read to pass. I was shocked when I asked how many plots is in 1 acre. We don't know, and they are 400 level students. One graduated, and I was like, it's alarming. So we need to engage them in schools. Currently, we need to have like an after-school program for agric graduates because they have some knowledge more than others. We're not focused on the youths. It's got a lot of money that will take some time, but we need to get there. Our food security is not in view if we are not able to lobby the youths. When Nigeria was working with food security, they were the youths in those days that have become old men now.
Are they the ones that will drive that innovation and serious knowledge-driven production?
It is the youths, and the youths that will not be taking oars and cutlasses. And when we're talking about food security, I've always said this, the North is producing. They don't understand management. Even youths, when you train them in school, there's this belief that, they are trained to run farms. No, they are trained to produce crops or livestock. They are not managers. You need a different set of exposure to manage. So we need to have professors, doctors teach in school, and we need to bring in experts who have made mistakes, who have gotten it right, to talk to them and engage and coach them. Cooperatives worked. What made cooperative work? It's, the cocktail of different ideas, engaging and co. So how many equipments have you seen come into the country? They are still the big tractors.
Yes.
Not the small tractors that we need.
Yeah.
So most of the equipments we are seeing are not equipment that the youths can start an enterprise on. It's still old model thinking. Until we change that to adapt knowledge, to adapt technology and mechanization to fit the youths, we're not getting there. And everything we still see apply online. The rural youths that understand this business will not apply online. They don't do online. The best they do online is Facebook. So even leveraging Facebook to teach, okay? Because we're not going to where they are. We're asking them to come to where we are. It's a mismatch of strategy that I'm seeing, and it has been what we've been used to seeing over the years. Nothing is changing, even though we have good intentions.
Honestly, this is touching. I must say, what you say Tolu has gone this route, and I'm going to go that route again. So if we are still grappling with these challenges that you've highlighted, what do we now say about storage and value addition? which is where we ought to be.
So Nigeria is battling heavily with production now.
Yeah. So are we going to put storage and value addition on the other side?
So, the way this should work is everything must work pari passu. It's a robust design. As we are funding and encouraging production, we should be investing in processing. We should be investing in storage. We can't take one and leave the other. It's a value chain. You break a chain, the chain is useless. So we focus on, we're giving fertilizers, we're giving seeds. Give everything. If there's no processing, if there's no storage, but the most important, logistics. If there's no logistics, we are playing. And beyond that, it has no motivation. Currently, the farmers need motivation. The morale is low. The inspiration is low. People are running from production. So if we invest in every other thing and neglect production now, we are going to be in trouble. Production is low. Productivity is low. People are scared. It's not that the farm is not safe again. It's the fear. We need to begin to deliberately, I did a series of courses on consumer neuroscience, especially how the brain takes buying decisions. Bottom line is that in the subconscious of the average farmer, there is fear. So we need to bring in marketing geniuses, sales geniuses, to craft messages that speak to the subconscious. Yeah. We're still looking at things on the surface. Many youths have lost money. I have lost phenomenal amounts of money. I have cried.
Yes, I know.
I have done everything, but cry doesn't pay back.
Honestly, it doesn't pay loans. It doesn't give you any alert.
So, so really what some of us are trying to do now is let's go after these youths. Because if you invest today and you don't have managers, you're going to have issues. So bottom line is we need a cocktail of solutions, and we need to know that it's not a one-size-fits-all. We have to do everything almost at the same time. I was on this program and I said the Minister of Agriculture would need about over 10 special advisors because everything must be going on at the same time. You can't drop cocoa and leave maize because maize works for most of the FMCGs.
Yeah.
All of them use maize. So there's no national maize project currently now going on. If we focus on maize, and I've said it when they started the rice convention.
Yeah.
I said maize, not rice, because we focus too much on the now. We don't focus on the manufacturing. Maize is involved in everything we do. Rice is not involved, goes through us, ends up in the restrooms. But for maize, ends up in diapers, in crayons. So we need, batteries, the dry cell batteries have maize. All the custards we take is maize. Pills, the pharmaceutical pills is maize. And so, and because what we've seen over the years is they copy and paste. Please don't copy and say we want to ban maize again. No. What we need to do is to ensure that we take an aspect of maize, either if it's consumption, and focus locally on consumption. Let some still come in the way it will come in. And if it's not coming in, focus on seeds. The minister recently spoke about needing over 300,000 metric tons of seeds for corn, maize, soya, basic cereals. The question is, we have to produce it. And I've said there are no seeds in the country to meet up that need. So we need to have conversations around, government is funding seed companies globally. It is government that funds them. They provide facilities for them. Have you heard facilities given to seed companies?
Not at all.
So if we don't have seed, every other thing we're speaking is English, is too inchy. So seed, we need to bring together and fund our seed systems. And it is government, not private sector, that does it so that they can control. So all this, they are increasing price. When we have enough seeds, people can plant. Right now, we don't have enough seeds for any grain, any vegetable, name it. So it's as if we're still where we were. So if we strengthen our seed system, people will be able to invest. Even our cassava, we don't have, say we want to grow 10 million hectares of cassava. We don't have seeds for 5 million hectares of cassava. That's the cassava stick. So we're missing fundamentals. But I was happy when the ministry said there's this deficit in seed, but the conversation needs to go further. How many acres of land? Government is still very technical, and government needs to bring business people around them.
Yes.
So you can't just say we need 300,000 metric tons of seeds for these 4 crops. We need to be talking about how many acres of land, in which region, how much will be invested, how much will be made. In that value chain of seed, where are the monies to be made? And people will say, oh, okay, I can see that gap, I flow with that gap and come in. We're still not making it look appealing to private sector. Until we are focused on private sector leveraging, we're not getting anywhere. Government should know that the food business is not their business. Policy business around food is their business.
AfricanFarmer Mogaji, thank you so much. Agribusiness coach, thank you for your insights always on issues around the agricultural space. We don't take this for granted. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, then. Well,